In our last video, we learned how to make an alien superclass and have all the other aliens inherit from the alien superclass. That did mess up a few things in our game though, and today I think we're going to do a little bit of cleanup. So, firstly, if I run the game, yes, they all shoot. We'll fix that later too. But notice that only the top aliens are dying, and also we still have that problem where it's going to the Win World way too soon. So let's address both of those things because they are found in Bullet. So there's an easy fix for the aliens on the top being the only ones that get shot. That's because we said only alien A is going to be shot by a bullet. So here, this code says if we hit alien A, let's take away alien A. But now, because of inheritance, we don't have to do one for alien A and for B and for C. We can just say, hey, if we hit any alien, let's get it off the screen. So if I change that little bit right there, we should see, there we go. Now I'm hitting all of the aliens. Now I'm still going to Win World way too soon. And that's because when we were starting out, we only needed 50 points to go to the new world. And this is where it's not a great idea to base it on the score. I mean, going to Win World, that is. Going to Win World should be done when all of the aliens have been removed from the screen. So we're going to replace this whole thing. We're not going to base it on the score anymore. What we're going to do is we're going to use Greenfoot's built-in get objects method. So what we are about to do is we are going to ask Greenfoot essentially, Greenfoot dot control space. Yeah, I messed up, my bad. This should be get world. So I'm gonna ask Greenfoot, okay, Greenfoot, what world are we in? That's what this is. What world are we in? And when I hit dot after that, these are the methods I have available. And what I want to know is I want to get a list of all of the objects of a certain class type, in particular, alien. So I'm going to click on this, and then right here I'm going to type alien.class. And this here, it returns a list of all of the aliens that are on the screen. Now, we haven't talked about lists in Java. You might be asking yourself, what's a list? Don't worry too much about it. All you need to know is that a list is the exact same thing you would think of as when you think of like a grocery list or a Christmas wish list, where you have items, in a row. So if I'm going to the store to pick up milk, bread, and eggs, I have a list with 3 things on it. The size would be 3. So if Greenfoot's going to tell me or give me a list of all of the aliens on the screen, what I really want to know is what's the size of that list? If the size is 0, that means there are no aliens left in the world. And that's when I want to go to Win World. So instead of basing it on score, I'm saying, okay, when all of the aliens are gone from the world, take me to Win World. Let's see if it works. Run it. There we go. It works. Okay? So that's how we can use, and the reason we don't want to use score is because what if later we put some floating aliens up top and if we hit them, we get bonus points? Well, then it's not necessarily that you need a certain score to go to the next world. It's much better if you can make it so that don't go to the next world when until the aliens are all gone. Okay, now while we're here doing a little bit of cleanup, we haven't yet put in the nice kind of lasery bullets that really exist in Space Invaders. So I'm going to go into Bullet and I'm going to change its image. I'm going to go Set Image, and I have Hero Laser, which is essentially just a screenshot of a green rectangle, and I hit OK. Now watch. Okay, so now I get that. Now it's too big, but we know how to fix that. We go into Bullet, and we're going to make a constructor. So I'm going to go up here. I'm going to type public, and then I'm going to put bullet, and right here, so I've just made a constructor, and you can see how it's kind of coded in yellow, meaning that the computer understands this is a special method called a constructor. Whatever I put in here is going to happen every time a bullet goes onto the screen. And I want to take the image and I want to scale it. Now I want a bullet to be higher than it is wide, because bullets are, lasers should be, at least in my mind, should be taller than it is wide. So I'm going to skew this quite a bit. Let's try doing like 5, it's got to be small. Let's try 3,8. This might be ridiculous, but let's try it out and see what happens. So I run it. Oh, that's actually not ridiculous at all. That's pretty good. That's kind of what I wanted for Space Invaders. I'm going to shoot it. So, yeah, not bad. Maybe a little short, but I can replace the 8 with a 10. Let's try that. There we go. I like it. Looks pretty good. And then the enemy bullet is the exact same thing. We're going to set the image to enemy laser. And since I just did a constructor, I don't need to do it all over again, type it all out. I can, oh, I already have a constructor. My bad. So here, I have a constructor that's already scaling. And so what I want to do is I want to replace, so I don't really need this anymore. I'm going to replace this with, what do we have, a 3, I think, and this with a 10, and that way the bullets are the same size. Let's try that. And there we go. We have enemies shooting legit, a little harder to dodge apparently. Legitimate lasers back at me. And one thing you may notice too, if you've played the real Space Invaders before, is that the enemies are shooting the bullets way too fast. So we may have to go and mess with the timings a little bit. We can do that by going into the alien, because the alien has a timer, remember? And we can say, let's change the minimum shot wait time to 3 seconds, and let's make the gap, say, 8 seconds. And those two variables should lighten up how often they shoot. Looks to me like they are. Maybe a little too much. Oh, there we go. There they come. Yeah, okay. So we have to play with those numbers to get it the way we want it. But that's kind of the idea of how to do that. The other thing we could do while we're at it too is that these are a little low in the sky. We want them to start a little bit higher, so we can go back to our level 1 world where we put the aliens on the screen. Maybe change this to 50, this to 100, this to 150. See how that looks. Yeah, that's a little better. And being a little more finicky, maybe instead of going down 50 at a time, what about going 40 at a time? Again, just to start looking at, there we go, some screen space. That looks pretty good. Okay, so now we've got ourselves a pretty decent game. And also, there's quite a gap here between the ship and the bottom of the screen. And this one I wanted to show you a little trick. What I can do here, instead of hard coding this, where's my hero? Here's my hero. And right now I have it at 350. So I could put 380 or something like that. But a smarter way to do this is to say, get me the width. Don't forget, I'm coding in level 1. So sorry, get me the height of the screen, and then take away about 15 pixels. Let's see what happens when we do that. Almost to the bottom. And if I were to, just to show you what that does, if I were to make that like a 40 pixels, it moves up. So rather than basing it, hard coding that number, I can put 20 there, rather than hard coding a number here, what if someone were to, mess around with the dimensions of the world? Well, then this would adjust automatically. The same way this 300, why did I put a 300 here? Well, I put a 300 because it's halfway of 600. Well, instead of 300 then, it would be smarter to say, get me the width of the screen, and divide by 2. And you're not going to see a difference in terms of x coordinate if you watch really quickly, but that's a smarter way to do things, right? Don't hard code numbers, base it on the actual dimensions of your screen. It's always smart to do that if you can. All right. So I think that's it for this video. And next up, we'll be looking at things like animation and assigning score to each individual alien.